Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, chapter 32.
Hare Krishna.
Text 7. Hare Krishna? Yes?
The connection just got stopped for a second or something.
Now is it okay?
Yeah, now is it fine? Yeah, thank you.
So Surya Dwarena Teyanti Purusham Vishwatamakam Paravaresham Prakritim Ashyotpati Antabhavanam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Through the path of illumination, such liberated persons approach the complete personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of the material and spiritual worlds, and is the supreme cause of their manifestation and dissolution. So yesterday we were hearing Lord Kapila Dev was telling us who is the intelligent person and who is the unintelligent person. Unintelligent person is the one who continues to think that we are the body. An intelligent person is one who understands I'm not the body, I'm eternal part and parcel of Krishna. So let me engage in Krishna consciousness. Let me engage in devotional service. So Lord Kapila Dev is continuing. The word Surya Dvarena means by the illuminated path or through the sun planet. The illuminated path is devotional service. It is advised in the Vedas not to pass through darkness, but to pass through the sun planet. It is also recommended here that by traversing the illuminated path, one can be freed from the contamination of the material modes of nature. By that path, one can enter into the kingdom where the completely perfect personality of Godhead resides. So here we have been given a guarantee. Like when we book an airline ticket with any airline company, so the airline company issues us a ticket. That's a guarantee that we can board the flight. We go to the check-in counter, they know we have purchased the ticket, then they'll give us a boarding card. Then with the boarding card, we can go on the flight. So the airline, they give us a guarantee that because we have purchased this ticket, they're going to take us from where we are to our destination. It could be, say, so we want to go from Taiwan to America. So we are going to EVA Air and we get the ticket. And so EVA Air does take us to that journey. Similarly here, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they are giving us a guarantee that we just engage in devotional service and we can enter kingdom of God if we do that. That is the guarantee. That's the reason they're just telling us, take it up. Just take it up. Just engage in devotional service and you can, for sure, enter into the kingdom of God. The words Purusham Vishwatomukham mean the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all perfect. All living entities other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead are very small, although they may be big by our calculation. Everyone is infinitesimal, and therefore in the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is called the Supreme Eternal amongst all eternals. So we are inside this big body, and so we think this is our size. No, the size of the Jivatma is actually 1/10,000, the tip of a hair. All the Jivatmas are that size. 1/10,000, the tip of the hair. That is our size. And what is the size of God? Unlimited. Unlimited. So this is the point we have to understand. There is a difference between God and me. I am not God. I am part and parcel of God. This is what the Vedas are trying to tell us. The Kathapanishad tells us, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. That there are so many eternals, and amongst these eternals, there is one eternal who's maintaining everyone else. So we are being maintained. We are seeing this wonderful material nature, wonderfully, the grains are being provided to us. the earth is bearing so many fruits, flowers. There are the seeds, and when we sow the seeds, we can have wonderful, wonderful grains. So we should ask, who is doing this? Who is maintaining me? And that is God. All the scriptures are saying it is God who is maintaining us. He is the proprietor of the material and spiritual worlds and the supreme cause of manifestation. So who has created this material world? Is Krishna. Who is the maintaining the spiritual world? That's Krishna. It is Krishna, God. Material nature is only the ingredient because actually the manifestation is caused by his energy. The material energy is also his energy, just as the combination of father and mother is the cause of childbirth. So the combination of the material energy and the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of the manifestation of the material world. The efficient cause is therefore not matter, but the Lord himself. So, if I think that material nature, she is independent, she is the cause of creation, then I am mistaken. The material nature, she is just an agent. She provides the facility. Material energy, she's the agent, and she helps or she assists in creating this material world. But it is God actually who is creating it. Now, because he has created the material world and because he's omnipresent, doesn't mean that he's not God anymore. Doesn't mean that he's not existing anymore in Golok Vrindavan. No, he's very much there in Golok Vrindavan, and yet he's present everywhere. Is that okay?
Yes. Yes. So again, they are talking about here the material, right? Like how we have talked it before, that how we discussed and read about it in the previous parts, that by the glance it happens.
That's
so
right.
Kapila
Thank
Muni is
you.
again repeating that, right? That
That's
the
right.
material is provided, the tattva, the mahatattva and everything. But alone the nature will not produce the living beings. It is the glance of the Mahavishnu that is doing this, right?
That's right. That's right. Living entities are put inside this material world by the glance of Mahavishnu, and by his glance, material energy starts acting. She starts acting and then transforms from one thing to another. And this material world, as we are seeing, is created. So Krishna is the creator. Material energy, she is not the creator. So reading on, Viparardha Vasane Yaha Pralayo Brahmanastitu Tavad Adhyasate Lokam Parasya Parachin Takaham. Worshippers of the Hiranyagarbha expansion of the personality of Godhead remain within this material world until the end of two Parardhas, when Lord Brahma also dies. One dissolution is at the end of Brahma's day, and one is at the end of Brahma's life. So as we said yesterday, Lord Brahma also dies. Lord Brahma lives for 100 years. 100 years of Lord Brahma is some 311 trillion of human years. It is a very, very fantastically long time. But Brahmaji also has to die. So Brahmaji's position is also not permanent in this material world. So Brahma dies at the end of two parardhas. Parardha. At the end of two parardha, parardha. The end of two parardhas, at which time the entire material universe is dissolved. I don't know what does parardha mean, but that Lord Brahma, he lives for 100 years. And when he dies, then the entire universe is the incomplete universe is destroyed. When he sleeps at night, only the lower planetary systems are destroyed. But the higher planetary systems, the Janalok, Tapalok, Mahalok, those are still there, Brahmalok. Only the lower planets, the Atal, Sutal, Patal, then the earthly planets, the Bhulok, then the Swarglok, all those are destroyed when he is sleeping. But when he wakes up in the morning again he creates the lower planets. But when he dies, the entire universe is completely destroyed. Persons who are worshippers of Hiranyagarbha, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, do not directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha. They remain within this universe on Satyalok or other higher planets until the end of the life of Brahma. Then, with Brahma, they are elevated to the spiritual kingdom. So, the worshippers of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Garbhodakshai Vishnu is called Hiranyagarbha. Garbhodakshai Vishnu Hiranyagarbha. And so such personalities, they go and live with Brahmaji on Brahmalok. And then when Brahmaji, now if Brahmaji is a devotee, then when he dies, he goes to the spiritual world. And the other inhabitants of the Brahmalok also go with him to the spiritual world. The words Parasya Parachintaka means always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or being always Krishna conscious. When we speak of Krishna, this refers to the complete category of Vishnu Tattva. Krishna includes the three Purusha incarnations, namely Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu, as well as all the incarnations taken together. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan. Lord Krishna is perpetually situated with his many expansions such as Ram, Nishima, Vaman, Madhusudana, Vishnu, and Narayan. So when we say Krishna, Krishna he is God. And so all his other expansions are included in him. Why? Because they're coming from him. Krishna expands as Lord Ramachandra, Krishna expands as Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, Krishna expands as Balaramji, Krishna expands as Nishingadev, Krishna expands as Kurma avatar, Krishna expands as Vaman avatar. So when we say Krishna, means Krishna including all his expansions, because Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all his expansions are included in him. Like when we say a 10,000, 1,000 NT note, we have a 1,000 NT note, a note. So in that 1,000 NT already includes 10 NT, 50 NT, 100 NT, 500 NT. Everything is included in that 1,000 NT. So he exists with all his plenary portions and portions of his plenary portions, and each of them is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna's expansions, they all have equal power, but they all might not exhibit all the power at every time. They just exhibit the power that is needed for a particular pastime or a particular lila. But this is Krishna, expansion of Krishna. So all the expansions of Krishna are equally powerful. This is the inconceivable potency of God. The words Parasya Parachintaka means those who are fully Krishna conscious. Such persons enter directly into the kingdom of God, the Vaikuntha planets, or if they are worshippers of the plenary portion, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, they remain within this universe until its dissolution, and after that they enter. So if we want to quickly get out of this material world, the fastest And the most efficient way to do it is to fix our mind on Krishna. By doing so, when we leave this body, then we can enter into the spiritual world, into the Golok Vrindavan, into the Vaikuntha planets. If we are devotees of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, also we will enter into the Vaikuntha planets. But first, we have to go live in Brahmalok. And when the life on Brahmalok is a very, very long time. And then after Brahmalok is destroyed, because Brahmaji is gonna die, he leaves his body. Then after that, we can go to the spiritual world. So if we are really serious of getting out of this material world, going back home, back to Godhead, being situated in our original position, then we just simply have to take up this Krishna consciousness with sincerity, hearing and chanting regularly. And then at the end of life, go back home, back to Godhead. So, Shamambo Nala Nila Viyanmana Indriyartha Bhutadibihi Parivritam Prati Sanjihir Avya Kritam Vishati Yarhi Gunatrayatma Kalam Parakhyam Anubhuya Parasvayambhu. After experiencing the inhabitable time of the three modes of material nature, known as two pararthas, Lord Brahma closes the material universe, which is covered by layers of earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, ego, etc., and goes back to Godhead. The word avyakritam is very significant in this verse. The same meaning is stated in Bhagavad Gita in the word Sanatan. This material world is vyakrita or subject to changes, and it finally dissolves. But after the dissolution of this material world, the manifestation of the spiritual world, the Sanatan Dham, remains. That spiritual sky is called avyakrita, that which does not change, and there the personality of Godhead resides. So this material world is not a permanent place, it's temporary. It's temporary. It is sometimes it is manifest and sometimes it's not manifest. When Brahmaji dies, the entire universe is annihilated. All the planets are destroyed, all the living entities, those who are fit to go back to the spiritual world, they go to the spiritual world. Those who are not, they enter into the body of Mahavishnu. And then again, after some time, the whole material manifestation begins. Again, when Mahavishnu breathes out. But the spiritual world is not like that. Spiritual world always exists. There is no death in the spiritual world. There is no anxiety, no deterioration. It's eternal Sanatan. The spiritual world is Sanatan. So Brahmaji, when he dies, he has to leave this material world, this material body. He packs up. You know how when we finish playing, we pack up our things and we say we have to go back home, like that. So Brahmaji, he packs up everything, the entire universe, and he says, okay, I'm going home now, back to Godhead. That's what he does. So when after ruling over the material universe under the influence of the time element, Lord Brahma desires to dissolve it and enter into the kingdom of God, others then enter with him. So the others are the ones that are living with him on Brahmalok. So when Brahmaji goes to the spiritual world, then the other residents of Brahmalok also go with him because they're devotees of God. Because they're devotees, that's why they can go. So we always advise to become devotee of Krishna. Evam paretya bhagavantam anupravishta ye yogino jitam arun manaso viragaho tene vasakam amritam purusham puranam brahma pradhanam upayanti agatabhimanaho. The yogis who become detached from the material world by practice of breathing exercises and control of the mind reach the planet of Brahma, which is far, far away. After giving up their bodies, they enter into the body of Lord Brahma. And therefore, when Brahma is liberated and goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a Supreme Brahman, such yogis can also enter into the kingdom of God. So the yogi, the Ashtanga yogi, by perfecting the yogic practice, yogis can reach the highest planet, Brahmalok or Satyalok. And after giving up their material bodies, they can enter into the body of Lord Brahma. Because they are not directly devotees of the Lord, they cannot get liberation directly. They have to wait until Brahma is liberated, and only then, along with Brahma, they are also liberated. So the yogi who has practiced his yoga, who has perfected his yoga practice, now because he is not a devotee, he cannot enter into the spiritual world directly. He cannot be liberated. He's not yet realized the Paramatma in his heart. He's not seeing the Paramatma. But he has qualified himself to go and live in Brahmalok. So he goes there. He lives in Brahmalok. And then, because Lord Brahma, if not all Lord Brahmas are devotees, not every Brahma is a devotee, but if Lord Brahma is a devotee, and then when Brahmaji gives up this body, the other yogis who are also living on the Brahmalok planet, they go with him to the spiritual world. You know, for example, like there is one strong man and he somehow opens the gate, so then the other people can quickly follow, something like that. So because Brahmaji is going, so then the others also going along with him, because the road
Sorry,
has been open.
I have a
Yes,
question. So, what does it mean by that all the Brahmas are not devotee? Aren't they
because
supposed
Brahma
to
is
be?
a post, huh?
But they are supposed to be devotees. That's why they are getting that post, right? They are serving Krishna already.
Yeah, but they might not be pure devotees.
Yeah,
They
not
might
okay,
have
not
other
pure
desires.
devotees. Okay,
Yeah,
yes, not pure devotee.
yeah, they're not pure. They might not be pure devotees.
So
They
our
they are
Brahma
just
is
qualified. Our Brahma is a pure devotee. We are coming from in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya. So our Brahma is a pure devotee.
okay. Okay, so that what you're trying to say is that the other universes they also have Brahma, so might be their Brahma is not pure devotee. So those
That's right.
jivas, right? That's what it means. And
That's
then
right.
you said that they will enter the body of Brahma. So is it the Ashtanga yogi? He enters the body of Brahma, right? After he gives away his body. So is it that we have read that they go and sit in the Brahma Jyoti?
No, no, no,
No.
no.
That
So for example, our Brahma is a devotee, right?
hmm,
So when our Brahma dies,
hmm,
then the yogis who have qualified themselves to go live in the Brahmalok,
hmm,
they will also die at that time, because when Brahma dies, the entire universe is destroyed. No one can have their material
hmm,
body anymore at that time.
hmm, hmm,
So the yogis who are there in the Brahmalok, they also go to the spiritual world. But because they are not devotees, how do they go to the spiritual world? They enter into the body of Brahma and then they go.
okay,
So
okay,
they are going together with him,
okay.
like they're tagging along with him, kind of.
Yes, yes, dialogue. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It is clear that as long as a living entity is a worshipper of a particular demigod, his consciousness is absorbed in thoughts of that demigod, and therefore he cannot get direct liberation or entrance into the kingdom of God, nor can he merge into the impersonal effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such yogis or demigod worshippers are subjected to the chance of taking birth again when there is again creation. So now what is the destination of the demigod worshippers? Because the demigod worshippers are attached to the demigods, they cannot get they cannot go to the spiritual world. They cannot even go to the Brahmajyoti because Brahmajyoti is also a spiritual world. So they cannot enter the Vaikuntha planets. They cannot enter the Brahmajyoti. So what's going to happen to them? The universe is destroyed now. The planet of the demigod is destroyed also. So where will these jivas go? They go back into the body of Mahavishnu. And when again the creation happens, again they are given material bodies. Again they will be born in different species of life. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah.
That's why Krishna is telling us, don't be unintelligent and worship the demigods, because you'll come again to the material world. You will stay again in the material world. That's the reason Krishna is calling us unintelligent if we worship the demigods. We don't have to disrespect them. They are worthy of our highest respect. But worship, we should worship Krishna. Chant Krishna's names, hear about Krishna, and in that way, go back home, back to Godhead. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening and enjoying. In Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hari Bol.